Bam. We're jumping into Neoplanet SE, and in the lower right-hand corner, we're going to have...
Change the, sorry.
What am I changing?
You need to put it into the game, my friend.
My friend. There we go, now that we can see it.
Yes.
In the lower right-hand corner, we've got our Protoss friend, a Master League player, eNtitY.
And then in the top right, we have our yellow Protoss player, Dance.
Dance.
Who in pre-game chat was making Kirby dances. Living up to his name and prestige.
Oh, looks like we've got a pylon going down for Dance behind his base. Same with eNtitY.
This is quite the mirror build so far. Literally.
Ho ho. So PvP is interesting, to say the least. In Heart of the Swarm, you've got some more options with the Void Riz rather than your Colossus battles.
Yeah, I was talking to ACDC before he sat down with your interview, and he was talking to me about his next matchup, which is also going to be a PvP, and he said he hadn't really figured it out yet, that they were having a lot of trouble figuring out, some of the timings and, what works and what doesn't work. So it could be a very experimental game that we'll be seeing.
We've got gateways going down at almost identical time, still very mirrored here. Both scouting around the same exact places at nearly the same exact time. Gas coming down for eNtitY.
This is a very zen game right now.
Gas coming down for Dance. Gateways and gas, almost the exact same production rates. Dance is
even going around the opposite sides of the map in a similar.
Look at
procession.
this, making a nice little yin and yang design
yeah,
on
very.
the map. Dance is going to be the first one to come on up into eNtitY's base as eNtitY took his second gas.
As did Dance.
You're going to see a pylon finishing.
And now the mirror has stopped. Aww.
Still pretty close. Cybercore is going down at almost exactly the same time. If you look at the production tab,
yes.
It's now mirrored again as all is right with the world.
Well, I was more suggesting the placement of buildings, because up until this point, they've been right next to each other.
Both players still scouting around each other's bases.
Yep. I'm
peek.
sure that they're both doing a double take, wondering if they're in the right base.
Once the Cybercore finishes is where we'll see our variations. It looks like both players are obviously going to be doing a one-base play of some kind, as Gateway is going down again for eNtitY. eNtitY's going to be the first one to jump on the Warp Gate bandwagon. Mm-hmm. Dance is going with the Nexus. He's going to be expanding after his first Gateway. So eNtitY is going to be a little bit ahead in the beginning as he's producing a Stalker. However, Dance is getting his Mothership Core out, so he's going to have that up a little sooner. The trick in PvP is if you start the Mothership Core at the same time as the Nexus, by the time the Nexus is done, you'll have Photon Overcharge ready. Stalker's going to deny any more scouting from Dance. Island going down here on the edge of his base. He's going to be moving around with that Mothership Core. He's going to be moving out with it, maybe doing a little bit of poking, scouting. As eNtitY's Stalker moves out, eNtitY is going now with a Stargate. 2 Stalker into Stargate. He's going to try and actually 3 Stalker. The 1 Stalker Gateway into followed by immediately by 2 Stalkers is a pretty common build. The 2 Stalkers are rallied onto the first, and since Dance went with that Nexus first, he's going to be in a little bit of a tough spot as he's only got 1 Stalker out. So if eNtitY micros this well, he could easily save the Stalker, not taking any hull damage until his other 2 come up.
Dance did have a sentry at the top of that ramp, so he was just going to keep that Mothership Core out of vision and block the Stalker. We do see a Robo Bay coming down. Or, I'm sorry, Robotics Facility. I always mix those up. I apologize.
It's like eNtitY is going with the Oracle right away, and that is probably one of my favorite plays in Protoss and Terran. There's going to be the Mothership Core that's going to be able to help against that, but it depends on what angle he comes in on and where he catches the Mothership Core. It's like he's going to hallucinate a Phoenix to go scout.
The forward pylon did finish, and there are 2 Zealots moving in, but the hallucinated Phoenix does scout all that.
puts down Photon Overcharge on that expansion Nexus, so that will be a full minute that eNtitY will have a hard time pushing in there. He's going to be moving up with his Oracle. I think he's hoping to pull any units down to this natural and swing in with the Oracle to the main.
More warp-ins from eNtitY, and it looks like he's gearing up to put another forward pylon and the other side of the mirrored position on the top side of the map.
So he has seen this, Dance has seen this pylon down here. Looks like the Oracle's going to move in. He's going to meet a lot of resistance from the Stalker and 2 sentries.
And he is getting out of dodge.
He's going to kill a total of 2 workers. Not a lot of damage, but he's also going to be moving in the front again with these units. Not a lot down here. That's Immortal is now coming out, which is going to be helpful against the Stalkers, but those Zealots are going to be a problem.
Now the second Oracle is meeting up with the first, and he's going back into the main.
Like
Dance is in a tough position here.
Dance is going to go ahead and let this Nexus fall. eNtitY kind of looks like mis-microing his Oracles briefly there while he's utilizing his units down at the natural, but gets a few more probe kills. It looks like a total of 6 now. Oracles do manage to make it out with 20 hit points. So eNtitY successfully thwarted that expand.
And he decides to just safely walk back knowing that he's ahead, expands, and is going to just sit back on his laurels a little bit, gets that mothership core out.
eNtity's up by a good 10 food, but these Oracles are going to continue to be a problem for Dance as he only now has 2 more Stalkers, 3 more Stalkers warps him in. He's going to try and expand again as the Stalkers come in, which is going to easily deny that, and if the units pull down, it's going to allow the Oracles to move right back into the main.
I'd like to point out that currently eNtitY has 0 units lost.
Wow, that's impressive.
To 850 resources from out of Dance.
Oracles come back into the main and kill a few more probes.
Fall.
Photon Overcharge will push them away. 1 Oracle again with being able to get out. Oh, nice force fields to slow down those units a little bit. Able to pick 1 off. Obviously, he's not liking that debris there, which is hindering his movement. Oracle is still in a threatening position off to the right. He's going to be working on moving that in as soon as the shields charge up here. Dance is getting a nice army out here as eNtitY decides to go for the Void Ray composition.
Adding another Stargate to aid in that.
eNtitY kind of pushing up to see what's there, sees that there's a pretty substantial army, so he's probably going to just pull back home. Still leaving a probe up here for a potential warp-in pylon on the other side. Dance, sensing that eNtity's moving away, and moves out to try and see if he can poke him, which he successfully did. Both poked at each other, taking no damage. Now Dance's base is back up again. Dance is going to take out this warp-in pylon over here, which is going to stop any pressure for the moment from eNtitY as he pulls back. Nice play up here, leaving 2 Stalkers up on his northwest ridge, as that he knows that Oracle is still out there.
He's also researching Blink, trying to use that as the counter to the air that we're seeing coming out of eNtitY.
So we've got a Hallucinated Phoenix again out to see what's going on.
And it looks like it's on a trajectory to go right over the army at the natural and not see much of the structures in the main. But he will get a decent look at that army composition. He's going to micro around it, but those Void Rays do see it.
He sees 3 Void Rays and
and it's gone.
eNtity's really powering for those Void Rays.
And with some fancy micro, eNtitY moves around those Stalkers, but does end up losing. 14 workers killed before those Oracles die.
So he's overall gotten his money out of those Oracles, but it took a few times poking. That doing multiple prong attacks is always nice, especially with the Oracles, because they can do so much damage so fast.
Dance looks like he's going to try and move out and do some damage here. He is tired of the guerrilla tactics of eNtitY. He's going to just try and hit him. See 2 Forges going down at the same time. Blink just finished for Dance. We see a Twilight Council going down, and a Forge for eNtitY as well, and here comes the engagement.
Looks like Dance is going to have the upper hand here. Nice time bomb to slow those Zealots down, get up in there. Oh,
Blink's
nice
forward.
blink ahead to take out those Void Rays. Those Void Rays are going to be in trouble as the Immortals are focusing heavily on the Stalkers, and Stalkers focusing heavily on the Void Rays, which is exactly what you want. looking like he's in a real good position here. eNtity's Mothership Core caught a little off guard. Dance is going to continue push, knowing he's got the better composition at the moment. Oh,
Blinking
nice blink
straight
up
up
into the
to
base.
the top. Sacrifices the stalkers so that he can get his more expensive immortals out while doing lots of damage with those stalkers.
Nice thing is here is that if this doesn't go his way, he's going to be able to just blink.
Well, he used it offensively.
2 more Void Rays pop out, have a very short and troubled life.
He does use the prismatic alignment to try and get some extra damage out before it dies. And he meets up with his immortals at the natural. And will he be able to power it down? Nope. Oh, time bomb.
Time
warp.
Bomb's going to be able to get those zealots. Now eNtitY has gotten a bit ahead, and
he
nice
blinks
blink
back
back
in.
into the base.
Immortals retreat. Go for safety. And more workers die for eNtitY.
eNtitY is again going to have a nice force here, but nice blink away again. It gives him an option to get out. Nice timing to be able to get away from that Void Ray as well. As long as that blink can cool down in enough time, he can get back out and harass these probes down here some more.
Great blink control we're seeing from Dance right now.
Dark Shrine now coming down from eNtitY, feeling that he's maybe in a little bit of a tough spot. As Dance continues to rally more units back at his base, continuing with Stalker Immortal.
Dance did see that Dark Shrine go down.
He's responding in kind with putting 3 cannons down at his natural, double upgrades at his forges, and also 2 forges. Those cannons at his main. eNtitY does also have a probe still up here, and as I look at it, he's going to go ahead and use that to create a warp-in pylon.
He's also putting down a 3rd in the lower right.
Exactly what I was going to say. You read my mind.
Well, when you have a relationship as deep as ours, you finish each other's sentences.
You're sweet. So eNtity's going to now feel comfortable enough to move out. We'll note that the foods are pretty close. eNtity's moving ahead again. He's now about 15 ahead.
And reading eNtity's mind, Dance is moving forward as well. He might be able to get some of these stalkers off guard. Oh, he decides to blink back instead.
Does not want anything to do with that. Guess he's going to end up seeing that he's not going to get much done with those DPs and try and make them into an Archon, which does end up falling. So eNtity's going to pull around towards his pylon now, as that's a safe spot for him, as Dance does have quite the significant army. And it looks like eNtity knows that, and he's just going to go ahead and pull back and assess what to do from here. Now that he's got the base lead, he probably just wants to macro up a bit.
He is getting ground weapons #1 and getting charge for his zealots.
We'll note that Dance is getting Dark Shrine of his own.
And the 2/2 ups are going down.
Warp Prism moving into the 3rd base as his army is moving into the natural. Is he going to go into the main? He is going to go into the main, letting eNtity see exactly what's going on. So now eNtity has to make the decision. Is he going to deal with the army outside his front, or is he going to deal with potential warp-ins in the back? No warp-ins yet. Looks like he's actually, Dance is actually going to move his army down to the 3rd and kill a lot of probes while he warps in zealots to the main and meet a cannon, which eNtity is going to protect with his probes, sort of. It's like
Those
that was
zealots are having a
successful
hard
run
time
through.
choosing what to attack there, but they are going to get that cannon down.
19 workers killed total, so it's largely evened up the workers lost in this game.
Dance decides to pull back with the majority of his forces as eNtity's army moves into his 3rd to secure it, not before losing many probes though.
So we took the grand total on that was 22 probes less, so Dance has now come ahead in the economy scale, which sort of evens him out since he doesn't have that base. Dance also still has a DT in the main of eNtity, and eNtity's going to be making an Oracle largely to be used for detection, as he doesn't have a robo. But Dance moves back into the 3rd, and looks like he's going to be able to do a lot of damage to that, but no, the Void Rays come in and he's going to have to blink out.
Now we see Dance getting his own zealot charge, and he's still cooking those upgrades.
More zealots warp in right as that Oracle pops out, so they can use the envision ability.
Dance does have a little bit of miss micro in his probes in his main. He is currently mining a single mineral patch with 17 workers, but he does decide to throw down a third nexus, so he will be able to transfer those when that finishes, if he decides not to transfer them to his natural.
Dance really does want this nexus to be dead, as that's about the third time he's poked in there. Still has not gotten much hull damage on it. And Scout SC is saying in chat, nice multitasking on both sides so far, and it has been, now that Dance is putting down his third base as well. You can see the food count is identical, almost, at the moment. If we look at units, the probe count is almost identical, at 45 to 43. Zealot count's pretty similar, 1321, and both have DTs. The only difference here, really, is that Dance has gone Robotech, and eNtitY has gone Stargate Tech.
We do see a Templar Archives about to wrap up for eNtitY.
DT's doing a decent amount of damage to eNtitY's army moving in that is not prepared, does not have any detections. He's going to be losing a lot of Zealots now that Oracle comes in with Envision to clean those up.
And eNtitY does have an Observer about to come out in about 5 seconds, but Dance is trying to power down that robotics. He does not get it. And eNtitY has DTs there, whacking away at those Zealots, and so they're going to run away.
Dance has really been trying to do some destruction on these buildings, but so far he just has not gotten it done. As eNtitY moves into the third base of Dance, and they're going to meet and have a large confrontation.
Time warp on the majority of Dance's units. This is not looking good for him. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm completely wrong. It's looking great for him.
Those Void Rays doing a ton of damage to those Immortals.
But in come the Stalkers, and the Void Rays get out of dodge.
Dance does have speed Zealots, which was a pretty good advantage for him, because those were able to speed right up onto those units.
Good control of Dance, trying to stay over, but that's the GG.
That was a well-fought game. Dance was looking like he was in trouble there for a while, but he just put constant pressure on eNtitY, and I think that really made eNtitY have a hard time with his plan. Even though Dance wasn't really able to get that Nexus down, he just kept eNtitY really busy trying to be ultra defensive rather than wanting to put pressure on.
Well, you know, I think that the tide turned in that game as soon as Dance got Blink, because his Blink control was very impressive throughout that game.
Yeah.
And before then, he kind of macroed so that he could get the Blink and start Stalker production, and that's when eNtitY was really doing a lot of guerrilla tactics, trying to get in there and trying to do some damage in the early game. But as soon as Blink came down, a lot of those harass attacks got shut down, and he was able to just have impeccable unit control and do a lot of damage to eNtitY's base and units without taking a whole lot of hurt.
The DTs on Dance's part didn't really do a ton of damage, but what they did do is force things. So when he had that DT left in his base, it forced eNtitY to make that Oracle, because he didn't have a Robo. So he had to make the Oracle as well as warp in Zealots to deal with that one DT. That's a lot of gas and minerals spent to deal with one unit.